Good morning. Can everyone hear me? Can someone give me a hands up or a high five or something? Maybe? We good? All right, let's give it another second and then I will start. Okay, let's start. Good morning, everyone. Today I decided to talk about bone health. Just based on my own personal experience. Both of my grandfathers fell in the middle of the night and required hip surgery, and both of them, their health quickly declined. And so osteoporosis is something that I think needs to be talked about more, especially among men. 55% of Americans over 50 have osteoporosis or low bone density. Osteoporosis can be a fatal condition. 1 in 4 people, or 25% of the people, die within the first 6 to 12 months post hip fracture. And so to me, it's not just a female condition. Osteoporosis is on the rise with men as well. Peak bone mass is acquired around the age of 18 for girls, 20 for boys. So unfortunately, that means our youth is the best time to really build that bone up, but we don't really think about it when we're young. Sex hormones like estrogen and testosterone play a very important role in our bone health. We know that when women go through menopause, it's a time where we see really rapid bone loss, and this can lead to osteoporosis. So coming at it from your sex hormones is also very important. Diet, lifestyle, physical activity can really sway what your bone structure looks like and your mass, so your bone mass. And that's really what we're talking about, like kind of like how sturdy those bones are. And so that can be positively or negatively. We know that high sodium diets, soda pop, sugar, alcohol, smoking, inactivity, these all negatively impact our bones, while getting out and actually like pounding pavement, building muscle, having diets that are anti-inflammatory, high in leafy greens, that type of stuff can really improve our bone mass. So what are the key players in your bone health? Well, it's calcium, of course, most of us know about that. Vitamin D, vitamin K, and vitamin A. A, D, and K all actually work synergistically to positively affect calcium. Vitamin A is really critical for bone health. Unfortunately, too much can stimulate osteoclasts. Osteoclasts are cells that actually break down bone. It's part of bone remodeling. It's important. They break down the bone matrix or the tissue. But we do know that lower levels of vitamin A actually support the bone building cells, osteoblasts. Bone remodeling is very normal. We want to get out the weakened bone and put more better, improved, denser bone matrix in. And vitamin A can support that. Vitamin D3 is important for calcium metabolism. So it helps take calcium out of the gut, so getting the calcium from your diet and getting it into the blood, and so that it can go into the cells. And it also helps maintain calcium concentration levels in the blood. We don't want too much calcium in the blood because that can lead to plaques. It helps with the bone remodeling. So what I was talking about before, getting out of the weak, get the weak bone out and improve bone growth. And so vitamin D, can improve that bone remodeling process. Making just the tissue stronger, the bone matrix stronger. When vitamin D is combined with vitamin K, it inhibits those osteoclasts, those cells that break down bone, and promotes the osteoblasts, so the bone building cells. Vitamin K activates the health bone building benefits of vitamin A and vitamin D. It decreases bone loss and actually improves bone, the risk of bone fractures because it improves that bone mineral density. Studies have shown just 6 months of supplementation of vitamin K2, I should say, improves bone density. They've shown studies where patients who had low bone density given K2 for 3 years, and they saw a reduction in that vertebral height loss. So the people that, are shrinking and getting that curvature, especially in the thoracic spine, so that kind of like hunched look. It also optimizes calcium usage, preventing calcification in the arteries, thus supporting healthy blood pressure. Calcium is hard to absorb, whether it's through our food or through supplements. If you're supplementing, we think that you can only absorb 500, maybe less at a time. Thus, it's important to break up your calcium. We also know that it needs to come in a highly absorbable form, so calcium citrate is important. But we know now that when calcium is combined with A, D, and K2, that calcium gets utilized more efficiently. I will add that boron is really important. Boron works synergistically with vitamin D, so it helps promote vitamin D3, but it also helps with bone mineral loss, especially loss due to low estrogen and testosterone levels. So definitely more important for our population that has gone through menopause and has lower testosterone levels. Now, we can get all of these in our diet. A, D, K are all fat-soluble vitamins. So we know if it's fat-soluble, then you're generally going to find it in meat, eggs, cheeses, right? A lot of vegans are not going to be getting high amounts of these. In some fermented foods, we can find good amounts. But it's interesting to note that our diets are getting more and more deficient in vitamin K due to our farming practices. When meat is being fed, our meat cows, like hens, are being fed grains instead of allowing to graze in pastures. We are seeing big deficiencies in not just vitamin K, but other nutrients. They give grain to cows and hens in order to fatten them up. It's also important to know that free range is not the same as grass-fed. Free range does not mean that those animals, like the cows and the hens, are eating the nutrient-rich grasses, which will have ultimately higher levels of A, E, D, K, omegas, etc. Free range means that they're potentially being fed grain, but they're not being raised in cages. Grass-fed animals tend to have lower cholesterol, lower saturated fat, higher omegas, in fact, 2 times more omega-3s, right? Those are anti-inflammatories. So that alone will just tell you that grass-fed meat, eggs, are more anti-inflammatory instead of being bad. Sorry for the whatever. We also know that they are higher in nutrients, the 70% more B12, 4 to 6 times more vitamin D, and I think I already mentioned the omegas. It has also been found that vitamin A, D, K support healthy immune responses with a balanced inflammation response, which helps cardiovascular health. We know that the A, D, and K seem to decrease inflammation in the arteries, prevent thrombosis, and improve blood pressure. If you were going to supplement vitamin A, you want to get about 1,000 IUs. Vitamin D, you want about 5,000 IUs. And vitamin K2, you want about 500 micrograms. Do not take these if you are on blood thinners. I am going to put a few of my favorite recommendations on Fullscript. If you have not ordered before on Fullscript, you can find a little link on my website, Dr. Lindsay S. Nelson at .com. Feel free to call me, email me. My email is drlindsaysnelson@gmail.com. Or you can set up a telemedicine appointment directly on my website or my calendar if you're interested, which is Calendly, so CALENDLY.com/Dr. Lindsay S. Nelson. Thank you, everyone. Does anyone have any questions for me? You can go ahead and throw them up on the chat box. No? Okay, I hopefully will see some of you next week. I will be, I think, talking about maintaining the difference between maintaining our weight versus dieting for weight loss. I've had a lot of questions on, you know, once losing weight, how do we maintain without feeling like we're restricting our diet? Thank you again, everyone, for attending.